what we now call sexual harassment, then known as fun, or bigotry, they were at best branded as having no sense of humor. More likely, they suffered the consequences of being identified as troublemakers. Victims of that callousness are still around. Miss Manners wonders how they feel when total strangers address them in the old condescending way, under the pretense of friendliness. At least the dress code was clear in the old days. Yes, and such items as jackets, ties, and nylon stockings were worn through scorching summers in non-air-conditioned offices. Those people looked professional right up until the moment they keeled over. What you probably miss is the professional demeanor they were expected to maintain. Clerks did not make customers wait until they'd finished their personal telephone calls. Waiters did not introduce themselves. Customer service representatives answered the telephone. And if you are a clerk, a waiter, or a customer service representative, you long for the time when you would have been able to deal with people who give you their full attention and who keep their tempers under control. When the deterioration of business manners finally became too serious a problem to ignore, the professional world took one look at the problem and began shredding documents. While Miss Manners appreciates the fact that business has stopped ridiculing etiquette and admitted its legitimacy, this was not a courageous approach. First to go was the purpose of good business manners. Miss Manners had thought that business manners existed to maintain personal dignity and to show respect for others while recognizing hierarchical privilege. To maintain a pleasant demeanor without invading others' privacy. To balance competitiveness with cooperation. To take responsibility but remain flexible. To be both attentive and discreet. And to combine honesty and tact. Instead, she was told that manners existed to dominate one's coworkers or to get rich, good business manners being edited with a nearsighted eye on the bottom line, not to be manners at all, but simply good business. And then the rules themselves went into the shredder, engulfed by almost universal agreement that there should be no difference between professional manners and personal manners. The relentless drive toward a less formal and less structured workplace resulted in the illusion that it was not work at all. If you did not have to wear a suit to the office, the reasoning went, it would not seem like work. If the boss throws a birthday party for you in the conference room, you will think of him not as your boss, but as your friend. At first, it was the women who suffered most from this confusion, and not only because they were expected to pick up the cake on the way to work. As women entered the higher echelons of the business world, no one told them that manners were context-dependent. On the contrary, a lady was supposed to be always a lady, or she would no longer be entitled to that once highly respectable designation. And she expected a gentleman always to be a gentleman. But the gentlemen knew better. They shared that same set of manners for the social realm. The only place they encountered those ladies because office girls didn't qualify. A gentleman would never brag or discuss money or insist that he was right. Miss Manners trusts that her gentle readers understand that she is referring to the rules in which they believed, not the way they actually behaved. But they had another set of manners for the working world. Good business manners could hardly have forbidden them to talk about money, claim credit for their achievements, or fight for that which they believed to be right. Neither an officer and a gentleman, nor a gentleman and a scholar, was expected to yield easily in his professional capacity. Meanwhile, their new female colleagues refrained from asking for raises, modestly demurred in connection with their achievements, and retreated when challenged. You would think that the employer's motivation for blurring the distinction between the personal and the professional would have been transparent. If your coworkers are your family, then asking for a raise reverts to the childhood ritual of asking your parents to increase your allowance. Yet instead of the women learning from the men, the reverse happened. And to Miss Manners' astonishment, at the very same time that terms like paternalism and in loco parentis were acquiring new and sinister meanings, the employees themselves have been enthusiastically embracing the fiction that we're all one big family. They agonize over the choice of secret Santa gifts for people they barely know, and are hurt when they are